GoGuardian is a product that has made the GoGuardian company, according to them, #1 top-selling educational materials company in the country over the past couple of years. And they sell a bunch of products, and I don't know which ones we might have or not have. So I'll just go over this quickly. Fleet would relate to keeping control of our hardware, of our Chromebooks, for example. So Brenda's on. I don't know if she knows whether we use Fleet or if we're still using the library system.
We do not.
We do not use GoGuardian for that. Okay, then there's network management, which I know we don't use. They also offer a service that scans everything the kids are looking at and doing for suicide and self-harming alerts. I don't think we have that. There's an administrative package that is what can set filters, you know, at Chris's level and do some monitoring at Chris's level too. I know we have these functions done. I don't know if it's from GoGuardian or not. So go ahead.
I think it's Google Admin that we're using for that.
It's Google Admin. That makes a lot of sense because GoGuardian costs money. So, all right. So the final thing, this is the portion of GoGuardian that I know we have, GoGuardian Teacher. This is the logo for GoGuardian. So if you were to bookmark it and save it on your URL bar or something, this is what you're looking for later. I have it on my bookmark toolbar here. Where is it? I just have it right. Where is it? Oh, here it is. So I just need to recognize that symbol. And here's what I'd like to talk about. What's the purpose of GoGuardian? What are our teacher responsibilities? What functions does it give? How do you do it? And what issues are there? All right, these are just some of the purposes. Whoops, I think I goofed that up. Yes, we want to monitor our student activity online in real time as it's happening, or we may want to. And then we can also go back in history and access their activity in the past. There is a way for GoGuardian to sync up with Google Classroom. So for example, instead of typing all your students' names back in, if you link it to the math classroom you've created, it will automatically pull those people into a separate classroom in GoGuardian. There are ways to limit what the kids can access when they're doing classwork. So you have the opportunity to really eliminate a lot of potential distractions for the kids. That's something I haven't practiced yet. I haven't figured out how to do that yet, but I'm excited to. And then the GoGuardian website gives you lots more reasons and things that they can do. Okay, so here is a 2-minute, this is like a short overview video. All right, so here's an example of here is the GoGuardian webpage. So you can see some of the more keep students focused, gain real-time view into what their activity is, identify and correct off-task behavior. You can chat back and forth with them. Put the monitoring on autopilot, limit browsing. You can view their browsing history. You can communicate with them directly with chat features and stuff. So get students on the same page. You can push out an instruction to them and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so here's the little video for 2 minutes.
Hi, welcome to a brief overview of GoGuardian Teacher. While teachers used to be able to look out on the classroom and see whether their students had their books open to the right chapter, you don't always get that same transparency when devices are open in the classroom. GoGuardian Teacher provides a digital window into student online activity, so teachers can see what students are doing on their devices and whether their students are off task or need help. Off-task alerts automatically detects when a student goes off task and will alert you with a visual cue. Alerts are specific to the classroom subject, so even when a student appears to be on task in Google Docs, but is actually working on homework for another class or goofing off, you will receive an alert. You can easily correct that behavior by locking their screen or closing tabs of distracting content, getting your students back on track quickly. Sometimes technology can cause problems and waste valuable time in the classroom. But with GoGuardian Teacher, you can push tabs out to students, getting everyone on the same page quickly and cutting down on transition time. You can even lock them to specific sites they'll need for the lesson. GoGuardian Teacher also helps you engage with students both digitally and face-to-face. With the GoGuardian chat feature, you can send messages with students privately to offer guidance or answer questions. You can also send an announcement to the whole class. And if you need to walk around the class and get support, you can choose specific websites to allow or block during class. So even when you're across the room helping one student, you can be confident that the rest of your students are on task. Or you can check student browsing history after class to make sure that your students were on task and understanding the lesson. This is why our users love GoGuardian Teacher, because it lets you get away from your computer and interact with students face-to-face. Thank you for joining us for this brief overview of GoGuardian Teacher. Click the button after the video, or click here for more information.
Okay, now where's the little button that says, okay, so the thing that's interesting is they're telling you how to do all this stuff on the computer, and then the summary is, and this helps you get away from your computer and see students one-to-one. I will tell you that I have not gone very far myself into how to limit what they can see. I mean, I know how to lock a student, I know how to chat with a student. So at what I would call kind of a beginner level, the way that has been amazing for me is during a test. If they're taking any kind of test or doing anything online that I want to be individual and silent and like focused, but I can pop the screens. I tend to put my teacher dashboard right up on the smart board, so they all know that I'm watching what screen they're on. And then they can, when they chat me their questions, like I don't understand this, or can you tell me what this word means or something, the room can be completely silent. It's just so fabulous. It's a really, really great testing environment. That's what I have found so far. Okay, so what are we expecting of teachers? This is, I'm sure will develop over time, but at the moment, I don't want anyone to panic that there are any mandatory, must-dos, change your life type of decisions here. The GoGuardian is available to you to monitor your students' usage as you decide it's necessary or needed. It could be based on grade level, you plan never to use it. It could be based on an individual student that you have that has rolled up to you and has had irresponsible computer usage in the past that you want to watch one student. So at this point, it is simply helping people understand the technology and what it can do if you choose to use it. And as the grades get older and older and older, you might need more support like this to do our function, which everybody does have the responsibility to monitor what the kids are doing on their Chromebooks. We also want to adhere to the discipline policy at Quest that has a section in there about cyberbullying and some of the consequences that are supposed to happen. So you can look at that if you want to. I linked it there. And then the students all sign the responsible use policy. So they absolutely need to be held accountable to the responsible use policy. Okay. So what I did is I was trying to pick out really good tutorials, and some of them are very short and fast, and some of them are longer and more detailed. So I made this little directory of the video tutorials that I found out there, and we can do just a few of them right now. How to use GoGuardian, that's 5 minutes long. It's an overview of a lot of things, and the person is very fast talking. So this would be another one to watch to get an idea of what GoGuardian can do for you. But do not think that you're gonna know how to go type things into your keyboard and get it to work afterwards. Some of the short ones I find really, really helpful because they've broken it down into such a small chunk that it's really great. So how to get your account set up and how to log in, 40 seconds. How to come back and sign in, same as logging in. So these are all kind of the same. And what the dashboard looks like, 40 seconds. How to set it up and sign in, 5 minutes and 11 seconds. So you want to get a quick idea of what it does and what it looks like, watch the 40-second ones. You want to put it on and then pause it and then try it and then listen for another 40 seconds and then pause it and then try it. Take the longer ones, the 5 minutes ones. So basically, you have to know how to log in, how to work the dashboard. Then you create classrooms. You can choose to create a classroom for every subject that you teach, or if you're a specialist teacher, for every class that you teach. I link mine to Google Classroom. So here is this, how to sync from your Google Classrooms. If I have Google Classroom set up for, there's Mrs. Nadeau's math, that's just my math kids. Then there is social studies, that's all 23 kids in 5th grade. Then I have grammar, that's half of 5th grade based on ability. Daryl has the other half, so it's a mix of Phoenixes and Hippogriffs. So I can set up the classrooms with the kids I have in it. And then when it is grammar time, I can just open up and do the monitoring on my students that are in my grammar class. One of the ways that I've done that, one of the ways I've gotten around that to make it really super easy is I also have a classroom I created just in GoGuardian that's all 5th grade. So if I just, oh my gosh, I have, 6 kids in my grammar group, but 2 people are visiting, or somebody was sick today, and so they're sitting over here doing a math test for Mr. Maskell or something. If it gets all confused, then I just click the all 5th grade one, and I can see absolutely everybody, even though they're not all in my class at that particular moment. So this will tell you how to create your classroom and add students. If you're going to sync it from Google Classrooms, you can do that all at once. How to set up students and start a session. So what they're calling a session would be like a period for us, a class period. So setting up a session is deciding when you want GoGuardian to be monitoring. So the student tile is the individual record of the one student. Snapshot is how to take a picture of what's on their screen in the moment. So let's say you peek into their Google Doc and they've written Mrs. Nadeau stinks. This will immediately take a picture of it before they can delete it. Teacher commands, I don't even know what those are, I have to look. How to work your chat, how to put announcements in there. How to include and exclude students and update the time. I have no idea what that is. The timeline view is the one that is the past history, or the history of the whole session. So some of the things that I can see by looking at the timeline, and I'm going to show you guys these in a minute. Some of the things I can tell by looking at the timeline is the kids who have been on the, let's say, the Khan Academy screen for 40 minutes. But my Khan Academy monitoring system tells me they've only done 2 questions. So it helps me decide whether they're actively typing and stuff, whether they're doing stuff. Okay, in addition to setting up a particular class period and monitoring and managing that class period, and you can make it repeat too, so it'll be every week during grammar or something. On top of that, you have these things called scenes, and I am gonna show you a little bit about scenes, and it's something that you apply to a session. So if you want the scene to be, here are all my rules that I want GoGuardian to follow if it's a test, then if Tuesday is your test day in grammar, you're going to apply your test-taking set of rules to that class session. If your math class is doing free research, you're going to have a different set of rules or scene that allows them to freely research everything. There is a GoGuardian, there are also reports you can generate, and I have not ever done that. GoGuardian Training Course 2020 sounded really, really great, but it wasn't operational. When I clicked on it, you had to go through a little enrollment, so I did the enrollment, I thought, successfully, and then I just got page not found, so that's a little bit of a problem. But let me go back and I'll do some of the 40-second ones, okay?
If you are logging in for the first time, look for an email that was sent to you when you were first added to GoGuardian for Teachers. Follow the link in the email to set your password. Choose a password and enter it into both boxes, then click Set Password. You will now be taken back to the initial login page. Enter your email address and password and log in. From now on, every time you want to access GoGuardian for Teachers, just go to teacher.goguardian.com and log in.
There is also a way to do it, instead of having to find that old email, there's a way to do it from your Google Classroom.
Scenes and GoGuardian Teacher give you more control over how your students use their Chromebooks during class. A scene is a customizable set of rules that you can apply to one or more of your GoGuardian Teacher classrooms. Using scenes, you can create a set of tabs to open automatically on each student's device when class begins, set a maximum number of tabs that students can have open at once, and create a list of allowed or blocked lists of websites for just that session. Some of our favorite uses for scenes include creating a testing environment that allows students to only access the test or related web pages, automatically opening each web page that students will need for the day's lessons, like a relevant encyclopedia article, a collaborative Google Doc, or the login page for the learning management system that your school uses. Giving students a block of free time where they are allowed to play math or other educational games, but not access other kinds of web content like social media or non-educational gaming sites. Before we show you how to create and use scenes in your classrooms though, we need to cover an important point. Scenes are not classrooms. Each scene is completely independent of your classrooms, and you can use one scene across many of your different classrooms. All right, so this lesson is going to be a little bit different than the others. Instead of telling you how each piece of scenes work, we're going to walk you through how to make a very specific sort of scene that we think illustrates how each piece of this feature works. We've also put together a comprehensive help center for scenes that will show in more detail how each function works.
Can I ask you a question, Laura?
Sure.
Are our email address already linked to GoGuardian, or does Chris need to add us to it?
I believe you need to be added to it, unless GoGuardian has made an arrangement with Google, which I know they have, unless it's automatic if you have a Google account. But you might just need to open it somehow.
Just to do that for us. Okay.
Yeah, so, you know, just like when you have one Google account, your email address and your password, you can then through Google have access to any, you know, of the other apps. In fact, let me just look. I don't know how to get rid of this talking. Oh, there it is. Get rid of that too. Let's just see if, okay, never mind. I can't do it right here. Let me go over to my email or my calendar. I'll go to my Google Calendar and see if I can connect to GoGuardian from here.
Yeah, I just, Cynthia just wrote in that she thinks Julie added all of us in 2 years ago, but I'm wondering if she only did 3rd grade and up, or if she did the whole school. So I'll have to ask.
Yeah, we can try that. Afterwards, we can go into your Google Classroom and see if you can, we can watch the directions for how to get it from Google Classroom. Like, let's see, how to sync from your Google Classroom. You want to watch that one and we'll see?
Oh, no, it's okay. I can do it on my own.
Yeah.
If you send
Okay.
all of these things to me, that would be great. Or to all of us. To me.
Okay, so let's just show the scene one. That was create a scene. Let's do the 40. So these are the short ones. So I'm not thinking that you know how to do it after watching 50 seconds worth of stuff, but you get the idea. And then I'm going to see what you guys want.
All right, let's get started. The first thing we need to do is create a new scene. That's pretty easy. First, after you've logged into GoGuardian Teacher, click on the context menu in the upper left corner. Scroll down to the scene section and then click All Scenes. Now that you're on the scene screen, click on the Add Scene button. Now, the first thing we're going to want to do is give our scene a name. Let's give this one a very specific name, like Comparing and Contrasting Revolutions. Now, let's give our scene a description, like Testing Scene for History. If you want to, you can also click on the pattern icon to change the scene's pattern, but this is optional. Since this will be a test, we want our students to be able to reach out to us if they're stuck. Go ahead and allow the Allow Chat in this scene option checked to keep chat enabled. Before going forward, we should go over a couple of things, specifically filters, scene modes, and exceptions. Scene modes. Scenes can be in one of two different modes: Allow mode, which allows students to visit any website except those you block, and Block mode, which blocks students from visiting any website except for those that you allow. You can use the mode toggle to switch between Allow mode and Block mode. For example, if you wanted students to only be able to access a Wikipedia article on the French Revolution, then you could set your scene to Block mode and add this URL as an exception, and your students wouldn't be able to see anything online except for that specific Wikipedia article. Alternatively, if you wanted them to be able to read any article on Wikipedia, but not be able to look at any other website, then you would set your scene to block mode and then add wikipedia.org as an exception. It's important to point out that allow mode and block mode do not circumvent any school or district-wide filters your school's administrator has created. If your school is blacklisted Facebook, then Facebook will stay blocked, even if your scene is in allow mode. All right, let's get back to making our scene. Because we're going to be testing our students.
So how much further do you guys want to go? I mean, you could certainly go watch all of these on your own. We could go into something specifically that you want. But actually, let me just see if I had something to talk about after the lessons. Oh yeah, here we go. 1 second. All right. So there are lessons there, and once you start working on some of those lessons in YouTube, then you can see the presenter that you really like. There are 2 or 3 presenters that I've put on there. Some of them came straight from the GoGuardian site, and some of them just came, and there's a GoGuardian YouTube channel, and some of them came from just ones that I found, and I tried to put them in order and organize them. The only other thing, and it's not a big deal, but there are a lot of issues related to technology in general. We all know this. So for example, about student privacy, this being able to record, to spy into and record every keystroke that they make has unnerved me at certain times. So I just have a couple of quotes here I wanted to throw out and say, at some point, somebody in the building is going to have to be talking about this. GoGuardian's ability to track web searches conducted at home is intrusive and could be conditioning children to accept constant monitoring as normal. That's an ethics committee chair that said that. And I have bumped into this due to bad behavior, bad usage of their Chromebooks, not even during my class periods. I had to look into everybody in the class's history, and something had happened. Somebody had sent something to somebody else over the weekend. So I put in a time frame of like the past 5 days. And I had to look and see every single kid in my class's activity for 5 days. And I saw the kids that were up in the middle of the night, and I saw the kids that were on their Chromebooks for 13 hours straight. I saw the kids who clearly had an 8:30 turn off your Chromebook time. And I saw the kid who was looking at, Star Wars lightsabers for 4 hours, and it felt creepy to me. So I had a problem with that. And then here's just a second quote. GoGuardian software was able to track keystrokes and remotely activate student webcams. GoGuardian states that those features were removed. That's 5 years ago. They had the ability to do that 5 years ago. So that's it, people.
I have a question.
Yep.
Do you think you can, and I apologize if this might not be a best of everyone's time, but can you show us how you log in and what it looks like? Just because I have no idea.
Yeah, hang on. I don't know how to manage my screen here. Am I still presenting if I go to it?
You are, yes.
Okay. So I click on my GoGuardian button. And I think I do log in with Google. This might also work for you, you guys. If you just went in here and did log in with Google, that might get you in.
I'll have to try it.
And then I have more than one account. Oh, and sometimes it does this. Sometimes it just freaks out. So this is not good. Let me see if I already have it open or something. Nope, that's the Google website. This is not an uncommon occurrence, this freaking out. I don't know if it's just me. Yeah, here we go. This is looking better. Okay, so I can go, my dashboard here looks different than the one he was showing you. Let's see. All right, so if I go into my classrooms, I can archive them at the end of every year. So this is the classroom that I had for everyone in 5th grade, and this is the classroom that I had just for math. So if I go in, and then I never really used any scenes. Yeah, I don't think. This was, I think I tried it one time, or maybe this comes with it, to only allow them to have at max 3 tabs open. And this is how I would sync with calendar, which I've never done before, so I'm going to practice that. This would be setting up my sessions for that. And I never looked at student reports. Okay, so if I go into my classroom, and I did do the, you know, add classroom and stuff like he was explaining. So if I go into my math class, I can go back to any of the past sessions that I created. So I create repeating ones. You can see here, here is distance learning, my half-hour math class, 35 minutes, 35 minutes, 35 minutes for every day. If I wanted to, even though I wasn't tracking it at the time, I could go back in here and view my past class period. I could do that. I can also start a new session. Let's say, for example, we have an assembly and math is at the wrong time. It's not at the standard time I already preset. I can just start this right when I get my class together. Like, okay, MADFIS ended, everyone back to class. I could say, oh, it's starting right now. I'm just going to start it and it will be over in 30 minutes. If I want to name it, or if then down on the bottom, apply a scene, which I haven't done. So let's say I look at what they were doing that day. Now this is the past, so it's a timeline. It's not current. And I don't know, maybe we weren't even online. Maybe we were talking out of a book because there's nothing in here. If I took any photos during that time, I would find them here. I don't know what this is, command log. No, I don't know what that is. But the timelines gives you your history, basically. All right, hang on one second. Let me go back to classroom. If I were to go into 5th grade now, not a session. It says in session, go to session. All right. So here's what it will look like. Each one of these boxes is a student tile. And then it will load. I can go and look at just one student if I want, because sometimes I just have to check on the one student that's been problematic. And most of these are going to say offline right now. In fact, they should all be, yeah, they should all be offline because they're not supposed to use their school account during the summer and they don't have their Chromebook. But what I would get here is 2 different things. I would get like a bigger square about the screen that is actually open, the tab that they're on. And then I would get just like a long series of the tabs that they have open. And I can click on them and look at them all. I can close the tabs myself. I can send them a message. When I close a tab, I can send them a message that goes with that, like stop watching YouTube or whatever I want. So the communication back and forth is pretty easy. And basically it's really easy to catch them. I just look here and I say, document, 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 YouTube, Spotify, picking music, picking music, picking music. Oh, video game. Oh, whatever. And then I can, if I have my chat on up here, then let's see if I can do chat. I don't know if it will show me right now. I don't think it's letting me chat with anybody because they're not on right now. This I have not ever had working. This seems new to me, that the system itself will tell me what's off task. So I don't really know how that works either. Sorry. Was that enough of answering your question, Bernice?
I definitely think it's helpful. I just wanted to kind of see what it looked like in your standpoint. And I didn't realize that you have to like schedule sessions like that. That's kind of.
Well, you can see right here up here, it says 1 upcoming session. That's because I also set a session for the entire day, every day. And apparently I haven't turned it off since school ended.
I started every morning by scheduling my whole entire day.
Yeah.
And
And I would
Laura,
just
I
record
had a
the whole day.
question.
Annabelle?
My question is, when you're teaching and you have this on, how often are you kind of flipping back and forth and looking at it and checking? And like, I feel like I'm opening 100 tabs and doing 30 things. I don't know how I'd add this in on, but I feel like it's so important. I want to figure out how.
Yeah, I tend to use it in that way. I tend to use it mostly, I'm going to stop sharing because I need to see everybody. It's mostly as a deterrent. So at the very beginning of the year, I show it to them. So this is 5th grade level stuff. I show it to them. I show the screens. We do a few class periods with all of their screens showing. I threaten them, essentially. I read the responsible use policy, and then I watch pretty carefully for like a week or 2, and I zap every single kid who does the wrong thing. And
Nice.
you know, there'll always be someone that gets locked out. And I mean, this is just kind of manipulative on my part, but this is what I do. And they get the message really, really fast. And the second I click on chat, then you can hear people say out loud, "Oh, she's on chat. Oh, she's, oh," and they'll look around, who's getting it? Who's getting the message?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. That's what I need to get more comfortable with.
Yeah. And then I don't really watch it well. I either put it right up on the screen so that essentially they're all watching it themselves. And somebody will say to me, "Oh my gosh, somebody's watching Frozen." You know, and I'll look up and that was Kelly, what's her name? Kelly Fang was watching Frozen in the middle of class. And it popped right up on the screen.
That's funny.
But it is helpful during a test.
Mhm.
I do tend to watch it during a test.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else with a question? Anybody else who uses it and wants to share how they use it or what they're doing?
One thing, maybe Annabelle, you could pass this around, the specials teachers, and I mentioned this earlier, that I think even if you were not teaching live, it's really nice for a specials teacher to watch, to see what happens when a student is working independently on their lesson.
Yeah, I think that's something we should definitely kind of clarify is, you know, during teaching time, are students on with that teacher the whole time? If a kid works best as, you know, being with the teacher for 15 minutes and then working on it all that evening, is that, you know, I think we need to kind of clarify and get those things in place, especially for specials teachers, because this year it was like second grade was this way, but third grade was this way, and fourth grade is this way. So I think it'd be really nice next year to have it kind of smoothed out.
But I mean, even if you're not live teaching and you posted stuff,
Yeah.
but you can see during your time period, if you wanted them to be working, what they were doing,
Right.
or if they had questions, but because some special teachers were not available, you know, during their class to
Right.
answer questions. But I mean, you could see if you put in an assignment and they took 5 minutes and then the rest of the time they were watching, you know, Captain America videos or whatever.
Right.
And you saw it reflective in your work. When you don't know what they're doing, you might not understand, but then when you can see what they were doing, it makes a lot of sense. Like, oh, no wonder his drawing was like such a quick sketch, whatever.
Right, and then it's funny because, you know, that kid is going to have to spend an hour that night redoing it because you're going to send it right back to them. So, you know, it's like, how does that all shake out? What are we expecting during that time? I think is a conversation too to be had.
I also think it helped me because sometimes I thought I was planning something that would take that entire time, but it didn't. So that was another thing that I think specials could see, that maybe everything they put, which was a lot of work, really didn't take them that long. And then now they were just doing who knows what. And a lot of times,
I think it's more than just specials. I think it's literally across the lower school.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I agree too.
I agree, yeah.
I'm putting that on my list for in-service topics.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop the recording.